So here we have the brand new Adidas MiCoach Smart Run smartwatch. It's the latest running or run tracking device from Adidas. It's the first time they've actually put something for us to use on the wrist rather than kind of an app that's embedded in the phone. It's in today. It's the first time we've seen it. We're lucky enough to be one of the first few people in the UK to actually get our hands on it. And we've already taken it for a spin, but we thought we'd take you through what it looks like. So here it is in its nice shiny presentation case. Unfortunately, it's only the journalists who get this. You won't be able to buy this case itself. But as you can see from the watch, it's fairly sizable in terms of the screen size, and in terms of the device size itself, it's bigger, in fact, than the TomTom Runner or a Polar GPS run tracking watch, or one of the Polars that we've seen. But I think one of the best things about this is you get the nice big kind of clear screen. It's very easy to read whilst you're on the move. We've taken it out for a 5-mile run this very lunchtime, about half an hour ago, and given it a test. And this size of screen is great for you to be able to see all your vital stats and information. We'll have a look through what that looks like in a minute. But one of the things I noticed from my first use of it is, you've got it's a fairly wide strap, and you've got a fairly big screen. I think it's 1.45 inches. But despite that, actually, this is fairly light. This watch is still light on the wrist, and actually it's extremely comfortable. You've got this silicone soft touch strap that means, and it's kind of ergonomically built, so it fits around the wrist really nicely. When you've got it on, there's actually a really nice snug fit. You wear it just above the wrist bone there, so that you get the heart rate monitor in the right place, and actually it fits really nicely, and the strap fits very comfortably. So as you can see, in order to activate the watch, you've got a power button here, and this is also a lock button, so it's your on and off, and also you can lock the touchscreen face so that when you're running you don't accidentally nudge it and change your vital information or stop the watch or interfere with it. So you press to on, and it will take you to the first screen. You can see one of the great things is there's a nice kind of quick start, and that will take you into a free workout almost at the tap of a button. At the bottom here, you get to see the most recent data from your most recent workouts. So if you just tap into quick start, it will take you through, and you get a bunch of options here. You can choose music. At this stage we hadn't loaded up any music onto the built-in MP3 player, but you can do using iTunes. It's drag and drop your iTunes or MP3 files on a folder on your PC and sync it via USB. But you can also choose your workout type. So you can do running, walking, cycling, Nordic skiing if that takes your fancy, and some others. In order to return, you just swipe back, nice and easy, and then you can look at the other options. So you've got auto lap, so you can set it to say a mile or a kilometre, and it'll pick up your split times automatically. You can switch the GPS on and off. You can switch your heart rate sensor on and off, and you can also choose to connect a Bluetooth pair of headphones, which is great. The Bluetooth 4.0 within the device lets you do that, so you can run without having to have cables dangling everywhere, which is really useful. Once you've done that, you're ready to roll, and it's just a tap, say get ready. As you can see, it's picked up my heart rate actually from my fingers in behind, but it will connect via GPS. We're obviously indoors, so that won't happen. But in the times that we used it outside, actually earlier, it was around about a minute in order to connect, and we used it up against the TomTom Runner. We set them both going at the same time. The TomTom Runner found GPS kind of marginally quicker, maybe 10 seconds, but both were fairly speedy, and that's a really positive thing. You want to be able to go outside and run pretty much instantly, especially when it's in the winter and it's getting cold. So after that, you're off running. If you want to go back, once you've finished your run, you'll get into the position where you can kind of review your data, and this is the run that we did earlier. It's got your distance. You can simply tap on that, and it will take you into the options for workout history or your lifetime stats or charts. So if you're going to workout history, you can see that I've already synced this with my MiCoach account online when we did the first sort of stage of setup, and it's showing all the data that I had from MiCoach when I was using it via my phone app a little while back in 2012. but today's effort is at the top. And you can see you've actually got a little star rating to say how I enjoyed today's run, and you should be able to tap into it. You can give each run a star rating for your enjoyment. It gets a run score. You can go in and see your split data. You can assign a set of shoes if you want, so you know how far you've gone in a certain pair of shoes. Gives you the total time, the distance that you've covered, your average heart rate, your average pace, your stride rate, and calories. So all the vital information there. If you want to go in and see your split data, you should. That's not true. Yeah, you can go in and tap. And you can see how you've broken it down. In this instance, actually, I had manual splits on, so I was choosing when I saw my split information. But if you can easily scroll back. So within lifetime stats, you can see what you've done based on your different workouts, so whether you've been running, walking, or cycling. And it will tell you everything from the total time you've been running, the total distance, and the total calories you've burned. That's really nice. Over a year, you can see these stats building up. And if you've got a target for that year, you want to do more miles than last year, this is a great way to keep an eye. So from this screen, you can see your battery life, and you can also see the last time that you synced your information via Wi-Fi with your MiCoach account on the web. And there'll be a bunch of other tools that you can use, the standard tools from MiCoach that most people will be familiar with, that you can use in order to track your data and your training regimes. Okay, so on the reverse, you can see here, this is the heart rate monitor that will sit on top of your wrist and pick up your heart rate, firing that through to the watch constantly whilst you're running. It removes the need for a spare or a separate heart rate chest strap, which is great. It's fantastic. So those things can rub when you're running over a long distance, and you can forget them. This is, it's all having it all built in makes it nice and simple. It also shows you how the device charges. You've got this separate USB dock, if you like, that you clip onto the back and charges via micro USB. So that just pops on to the back there, clips on, charge it via USB. Nice and simple. If anything, it's slightly annoying to have to carry a separate dock, but this is standard for most run GPS tracking watches that we've seen. There are very few that actually charge via micro USB alone. So if you want to do something that's a little bit more involved than the quick start, just go out and run, you can scroll down, and what you'll get is the option to have a free workout, an interval workout, so you create a time-based exercise. You can look at your specific plans that you've set up within the MiCoach platform online. In this example, I have an old one here that I was trying to get a PB for the Berlin Marathon. I had a particular set of training and things that I had to hit, so this would let you key into that. And also you've got some strength and flex, so you can look at your overall body strength and your stretching and your flexibility. So if you look at how this compares to some of the other run tracking watches, and also we brought in the Samsung Galaxy Gear just to see how it compares to the other smartwatches, although this really isn't a smartwatch, it's actually a running watch. Even though it has the name smartwatch in it, it's a very, very targeted piece of kit, and it's not going to try and make you talk into your wrist like Dick Tracy. But if you compare it to some of the others, one of the big competitors that you have is the TomTom Runner GPS watch, and it's really interesting. You can see with this that the TomTom Runner is actually smaller, the screen's smaller, the overall kind of bulk of the watch is actually a lot smaller. But the funny thing is that because of the silicone strap on the Smart Run, and the way the back is slightly more ergonomic than the TomTom Runner, it's actually more comfortable to wear. And despite the size of the screen on this one, they're the same weight. Actually, if anything, it feels like this one might be the TomTom Runner might be slightly heavier. And you get a little bit more kind of screen real estate from the Adidas Smart Run. So I think that's a positive on the Smart Run side. The Polar RC3 GPS, also smaller. I mean, this one is competition from a heart rate monitoring perspective. But I think if you can see, the RC3 has that kind of ergonomic design in the back. It's got the benefit of micro USB charging built in, which is a really nice touch that the Adidas doesn't have. And then if you look at just from a sort of size differential, you can see that, you know, the Adidas smartwatch, in terms of its look and its design, it has gone out into the realm of some of the smartwatches we've seen, like the Samsung Galaxy Gear and the Sony Smartwatch 2, in terms of its design with the kind of steel and the nice kind of glass finish. It does feel like a very, very sort of futuristic, cool piece of kit, as opposed to the design on the TomTom Runner, which is, you know, and the Polar, which are fairly sort of plasticky and not quite so well designed.